everyone, my name is Dennis Atwigo. With us to the number 45, we are from group 4. We would like to explain to you about suprasegmental features in speech. Suprasegmentals or prosodic features are aspects of speech that extend beyond the level of individual phonemes, consonants, and vowels. They occur across stages of speech and play a crucial role in conveying meaning and emotion, as well as differentiating words, phrases, or sentences that might otherwise be identical in their segmental composition. These features include pitch, stress, and duration, or length, and they help listeners interpret not only what is being said, but also how it is being said. Let's explore this feature more closely. The first one is pitch. Pitch refers to the perceived highness or loudness of the speaker's voice and is linked to the fundamental frequency of vocal vibration. It is evaluated on a continuum from high to low. Pitch is a key feature in many languages and can be essential for distinguishing meaning, especially in tonal language. Tonal language. In tonal language like Mandarin Chinese, pitch differences can entirely change the meaning of a word. For example, the syllable ma can take on 4 different meanings depending on the pitch contour, also known as tone. Use ma, high level pitch, mean mother. Ma, rising pitch, mean ham. Ma, falling rising pitch, means horse. Ma, falling pitch, mean to scold. Non-tonal language. In non-tonal language like English or Indonesian, pitch still plays an important role, especially in conveying intonation patterns. Intonation refers to the variation of pitch across a sentence and can signal the speaker's attitude or emotion. For example, declarative statement. When we say, "you are coming," with a relatively flat or slightly falling pitch, it is perceived as a simple statement. If we want to make a question, we have to raise the pitch at the end of the sentence. "You are coming?" It turns into a question, even though the words are identical. In this way, pitch helps distinguish between different types of the sentences: declarative, interrogative, exclamatory, etc., and can even change tone or mode of conversation, such as indicating surprise, uncertainty, or emphasis.
Alright everyone, today I'm going to explain intonation. Intonation is a key component of suprasegmentals. Intonation refers to a variation in pitch that occurs over an entire sentence or phrases. In language like English, this pitch variation can affect the meaning of the sentence, although typically pitch differences in individual words don't change their meaning. For example, "His name is Harry" can be a question, while "his name is Harry" is a declarative statement. So these differences in pitch or intonational contours make English an international language, where the change in pitch extends across whole sentence rather than just individual word. This is quite different from what we call tonal language, like Mandarin or Zulu, where a change in pitch on a single word can dramatically alter its meaning. For instance, in Mandarin, the word ma can mean 4 different things depending on the tone. With a high tone, ma means mother. With a rising tone, ma means hemp. With a falling rising tone, ma means horse. And with a falling tone, ma means to scold. This is what makes language like Mandarin is called tonal language, where pitch functions to distinguish words that have the same segmental makeup, meaning they are made up of the same phonemes of sound. So, while intonation typically refers to pitch change over entire phrases in language like English, in tonal language, pitch change within a word itself can differentiate its meaning. This distinction is key when studying phonetics. To give a bit more detail, in Mandarin, specific symbols or diacritic are used to represent different tones, like marks over the vowels. This helps distinguish between the high tone, rising tone, rising tone, and falling tone. So, when we learn a tonal language, we are not just learning how to pronounce the word, but also how to get the pitch right. Because if the pitch is wrong, the meaning of the words change entirely. In conclusion, while intonation in international language like English serves to change a synthetic function of sentence, in tonal language like Mandarin, pitch change on the same word can result in vastly different meanings. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Dian Sujipertiwi with last student number 52. I'm going to talk about duration. In linguistics, duration refers to the length of time a speech, sound, syllable, or word is articulated. It is one of the key features in phonetics, particularly in the study of prosody, the rhythm, stress, and intonation of speech. The length of a sound refers to how long it lasts. Some sounds are naturally short, while others can be longer. For instance, high vowels like e in sit are usually shorter than low vowels like a in cat. The surrounding sounds in a word can also affect the length of a sound. In English, vowels are longer before voiced consonants like D than before voiceless ones like T. For example, the E sound in need is longer than in neat. However, in English, stretching out a sound usually doesn't change the meaning of a word, except when stressing something. But in some languages like Hindi, the length of a sound can change the meaning of a word. For example, in Hindi, paka means right, while pakka with a longer K means firm. This longer sound is called a Gemini, and it lasts about twice as long as a normal or single thought. To show a longer sound in writing, linguists may either write the consonant or vowel twice as in pakka, or use a colon symbol after the sound like pakka. Both ways indicate that the sound should be held for a longer time when spoken. There are several ways in which duration plays a role in linguistics. The first one is vowel and consonant length. Some languages distinguish between long and short vowels or consonants. For instance, in languages like Japanese, Italian, and Finnish, vowel or consonant length can change the meaning of a word. For example, kita versus kita in Japanese, where the double E represents a longer vowel. The second one is stress and rhythm. Duration can affect stress patterns in languages. Stressed syllables often have longer duration than unstressed syllables. In some languages, longer syllables might receive stress, or the length of a syllable might depend on stress placement. The third one is prosodic timing. Duration contributes to the overall rhythm of speech. Some languages are stress-timed, like English, meaning the time between stressed syllables tends to be equal, while others are syllable-timed, like Spanish, where each syllable tends to take roughly the same amount of time. The fourth one is tempo and speaking rate. The overall duration of speech can vary depending on how fast or slow a person is speaking, which can influence the clarity or meaning of speech. A faster rate may shorten the duration of sounds and syllables. In some, Duration in linguistics affects both the phonetic and phonological properties of languages, impacting meaning, stress patterns, and overall speech rhythm.
Alright everyone, I'm Tessa Gina Amira and I will continue the explanation about stress and connected speech in linguistics. So first one is about stress. Stress in linguistics refers to the emphasis or prominence placed on a particular part of a word or sentence. This emphasis can be achieved by raising the pitch, lengthening the sound, or making it louder than other parts. Stress is typically applied to syllables, the smallest speech units that can carry emphasis. What's interesting is that stress patterns vary depending on the language. For example, in Finnish and Hungarian, stress is always on the first syllable. And in French and Mayan language, stress always falls on the last syllable. And in Polish and Swahili, the stress is on the second to last syllable. However, in languages like English, stress patterns are more unpredictable. This means that where we place stress in a word can change its meaning or function. Example, in English, at least there are three levels of stress. The first one is primary stress, and the second one is secondary stress, and the last one is unstressed. And here I have a simple example is the word phonetic. The primary stress is on the second syllable, phonetic, giving the word its main emphasis. The placement of stress can also change the meaning or function of a word. For example, subject with stress on the first syllable is a noun, and subject with stress on the second syllable is a verb. Now let's move on to connected speech. So what exactly is connected speech? Well, when we talk, we don't speak in individually separate words. Instead, we speak in continuous stream of sounds. If you think about it, you rarely hear someone speak each word like its on island, with big pauses in between. Our words tend to blend or connect with one another. This is what we call connected speech. And there are a few key processes that happen when we connect our speech. Let's go through some of the most important ones. The first one is assimilation. This happens when one sound changes to become more like a neighboring sound. For example, if you say the phrase "good boy" quickly, the D sound in good may change slightly to sound more like a B, so it sounds like good boy. The sounds influence each other, which helps our speech flow smoothly. And the second one is elision. This is when we drop or omit a sound in connected speech. For instance, in casual conversation, instead of saying I don't know, many people might say I don't know. The T in done is dropped to make the sentence easier and faster to say. And the third one is linking. In connected speech, we also link sounds between words. This is especially common when a word ends in a consonant sound and the next word starts with a vowel sound. For example, instead of saying go out, with a clear break between the words, we link them together and it sounds like go out. And the last one is weak forms. Certainly words, especially grammatical words like and, of, or to, are often reduced. In connected speech, for example, instead of saying I want to go, we might say I wanna go. The two becomes reduced or weakened in a fast speech. Now, we might be wondering, why do we use connected speech? Well, it's really just the natural way humans speak. It helps make our speech more efficient and smooth. If we pronounce each word individually, it would sound really robotic and unnatural. Connected speech makes conversation flows much better.
Okay, next part, I want to talk about juncture. Juncture refers to the perceptual or sometimes physical boundaries within a stream of speech that help listeners segment and understand spoken language. In written language, these boundaries are typically marked by space and punctuation. However, in spoken language, these boundaries are not always explicitly pronounced but are inferred through various auditory and contextual cues. The role of juncture. Juncture is crucial for several reasons. Number one, disambiguation. In natural speech, many sequences of sound could be interpreted in multiple ways. Juncture help disambiguate this sequence by providing clues about where one word or phrase ends and another begins. Without clear juncture, listener might struggle to determine the intended meaning of an utterance. Number two, contextual interpretation. The context in which a statement is made plays a significant role in understanding juncture. For example, the word sequence, narrate, could mean narrate, or narrate, depending on surrounding conversation on context. In contextual understanding, help listeners infer the most likely interpretation. Number three, perceptual cause. Even though juncture might not always be physically present as a pause or break, listener perceive it through various auditory cues such as pitch change, duration of sound, and subtle pause. These cues help in segmenting speech and comprehending meaning. Example of juncture in action. Let's explore how juncture affect meaning with more detailed examples. Number one, this gradate, and grade 8. For gradate, this could be interpreted as gradate, a term related to graduation. True is not commonly used. In absence of clear juncture makes it less obvious. For gradate, here the junction between gray and date makes it clear that the speaker means gray date, which could imply a date with a metaphorically of literal gray. The pause helps distinguish the interpretation from others. For next, grade 8. The juncture here separates grade and 8, making the interpretation grade 8 clear. This refers to the 8 grades in school context. The juncture helps listener correctly identify the phrase as referring to specific educational level. Next, we have electric and electric. Electric, this is interpreted as electric, describing some things related to electricity. The lack of juncture here indicates that the term is used as a single concept. Electric, with the juncture separating elect and rig, listener interpret this as elect Rick, suggesting a choice or selection of someone named Rick for a position. This juncture clarifies that elect is a verb and Rick is a noun. Next, we have it's lit and it slit. It's lit, the juncture indicates it's lit, referring to the cover of some things. The separation between it's and lit makes this meaning clear. Next, it slit. Without juncture, this could be heard as it slit, meaning some things move smoothly. The juncture helps differently the action from the position. For next, we have that tough and that tough. For that tough, the juncture here is crucial for understanding the phrase as that stuff, which refers to unspecified material or object. The separation between that and stuff clarifies that meanings. For that's tough, the juncture helps identify that stuff, an expression indicating difficult or strength. The lack of pause or separating affect the interpretation of phrase. Perceptual cause for juncture. In connected speech, juncture is often perceived through number 1, pitch variation. A rise in pitch can indicate that end of a phrase or sentence, while a fall in pitch might signal the continuation of a sentence or a new phrase. Number 2, duration. The length of sound and pause can signal juncture. For instance, a slight pause or elongation in pronunciation can help listener distinguish between words and phrase. Number 3, glottal stops. The insertion of a glottal stop or a brief closure of the vocal cords can signal a juncture as it separates syllables or words. Number 4, aspiration. Differences in aspiration or the breath sound following certain consonants can also indicate juncture. For example, the aspiration difference can help differentiate between similar sound words. Number 5, actual pause. While not always present, actual pause between syllables or words can clearly mark juncture, helping listener trace the speech. Okay, that's all from us. Thanks for watching. We hope you found this video helpful and enjoyable. If you did, please give us a thumbs up and leave a comment below with your thought or any question you might have. See you in next time. Goodbye.